Can Daniel King get worse? And the answer, sadly, is yes. After taking a quite considerable break to recover, we return to one of the biggest Christian jokes on the internet to see just how dumb these people can actually be, and the depths of their stupidity, it seems endless. Don't say I didn't warn you. So let's get started. After the last video, I was pretty much ready to give up on Daniel King. He is a ridiculous idiot who does absolutely nothing but embarrass himself, and really, I'd like to tackle higher quality prey here. It's too bad there doesn't seem to be any. Therefore, we're going to try again, and damned if he doesn't do the impossible and make a video even dumber than the last one. You just can't win here, can you? So let's get this over with. Here is Daniel King proving, as if he needed to try, just how stupid he is. Try to enjoy it.
Bacteria is proof that God is real.
No, it's proof that you have no brain. Right up front, and I'm sure this is going to completely derail his video, but the only way to prove God is real is to prove God is real. You need direct, demonstrable evidence that shows that God actually exists. He has absolutely none of that when it comes to bacteria. What he has is an assertion. He has wishful thinking. He has faith. He's just saying, well, I don't get it, therefore God. And that's why Daniel King is such an idiot. I trust we already knew that. Anyway, Danny boy, get to your strut and we'll just catch up with you on the other side.
In Darwin's Black Box, Michael Behe, a professor of biochemistry at Lahey University in Pennsylvania.
All right, let me stop you right there. Behe is a frickin' imbecile. To see that, all you have to do is go back and read the transcripts of the Kitzmiller trial to see just how badly he fared. In fact, his own university had to release a statement saying that they do not support anything that he has to say on the subject. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and link to the Kitzmiller transcripts down in the description, so if you want to read it, you can go ahead and do that for yourself. I think we know by now, especially after his ludicrous video on the eye, that Daniel doesn't actually understand any of this. I mean, I don't think he understands much of anything. He sees it on a creationist website and then just, bam, it goes right into his series without any further thought. I don't know if he's ever had a thought in his life, but, there you go. Hopefully he's not going to just brainlessly regurgitate whatever Behe said without any comprehension of the problems. I'll have to really rip him a new one if he does, because all he did in his video on the eye was to just read from Wikipedia and say, therefore God. That level of stupidity made me take a solid 2 or 3 months off from doing his videos because I couldn't even look at him without throwing up in my mouth a little bit. But Daniel King is an idiot, so let's see.
Proposed bacterial flagellum.
And there he goes, trying to sound out words again. I mean, these aren't even hard words. He's just, well, all right, he's dumb. So, okay, whatever. Back to the terminal stupidity.
As examples of irreducible complexity. This complexity of bacterial flagellum works like a spring-loaded mousetrap. A mousetrap consists of a rectangular board, a trigger, a spring, and a bar.
Who else here was hoping that the trap would go off and get his finger? I don't know, maybe it was just me. Of course, I could point out that there are lots of different types of mousetraps with varying degrees of lethality, but I won't, or I guess I just did. All right, disregard that. However, what I figure he's going to do here is say, mousetraps require humans, therefore the bacterial flagellum needs God. Something like that. However, we'll get into that in a moment because Behe, like King, is just a moron. They look at something and say, well, I don't understand how that works, and then they just tack therefore God on the end and call it a day. However, actual scientists do know how it works because they've actually taken the time to figure it out. They're not dumb like Daniel King is. So, let's get back to it.
When the mouse moves the bait jogs the trigger releases the spring, and the spring causes the bar to snap down on the mouse's neck. If any one of these pieces was removed from the mousetrap, the entire trap would be rendered useless, and the mouse would run off with the cheese.
Except, as I already mentioned, I guess it was worthwhile after all, there are a lot of different forms of mousetraps that don't rely on any of those things. Therefore, you can have a trap without any of those elements and it will still work just fine. I mean, seriously, you can make a trap with a bucket, a ramp, and some way to dump the mice into the bucket, and you can catch them by the dozens. It's a far superior system to the one that he's holding in his hand, and it requires none of those components that he's so enamored with. Because, Daniel is dumb.
In a similar manner, Behe argued that the protein assemblies of bacterial flagellum are irreducibly complex.
But he's wrong. In fact, a whole slew of actual scientists took to the stands in the Kitzmiller trial to show that Behe was laughably out of his mind. This is actually one of the models that Behe used. Scientists were very quick to point out that every single one of the components that he was talking about, each and every single one of them could have, and in fact demonstrably did, serve other functions. In fact, they pointed out that the flagellum itself was very similar to the injectosome used by other bacteria, to the point that the proteins are virtually identical, and it shows a clear evolutionary lineage. They also showed that flagellum not only could operate without some of those elements, in fact, they did. It's why he's been such a laughingstock ever since. Michael Behe is an idiot, just like Daniel King.
The bacterial flagellum is a lash-like appendage that extends from the body of certain bacteria cells. This appendage allows the cell to achieve locomotion.
In fact, there are a lot of different ways that bacteria can move around. Different types use different methods, and some manage it without any flagellum at all. Now, I'm sure that Daniel has no clue about any of that, because I'm sure he thinks there's only one form of bacteria out there. In fact, science thinks there's more than 10 million different species of bacteria. Each one is different in its own way. Nobody really knows for sure. I mean, there was a study done, once again, I'll link it down below, where a scientist tested 30 grams of topsoil in Norway and came up with an estimated 1 million different kinds of bacteria. There's more bacterial life on the planet than anything else by a massive margin. So, Daniel's still dumb.
The flagellum consists of multiple parts, including the stator, the rotor, the shaft, bushing, a hook, and a whip.
All of which he just read off a website somewhere because Daniel doesn't actually know anything. He has done absolutely no research on this at all. He just figures that because some dumb shit said something in a book he likes and came to the same emotionally comforting conclusion that he did, well, it's just gotta be true. This is not something that he has spent any time on his own verifying or even trying to understand. He can't even pronounce half the words. He just wants to believe. How stupid is that?
If any one of these parts is removed, the flagellum would no longer work.
And that's already been proven wrong. In fact, they do work and they work just fine. They just work differently. This is just a fundamental misunderstanding on both Behe and King's part of the way that reality actually functions. Why? Because they've got religious mind poison running through their heads. This is exactly why having a Christian perspective or a Christian worldview is so meaningless. You need to start and end with reality. Your fifis don't make a difference. Both of you need to grow the hell up.
It is therefore impossible for the flagellum to slowly evolve part by part, since no part of the bacterial flagellum could have appeared independently.
Except, it demonstrably did. You can just go look that crap up on Wikipedia, and since Daniel here is apparently such a power user at that, he should have just checked out the explanation, because it and all of the links, they're not half bad. Of course, Danny here, he doesn't actually care about the facts, does he? He just wants to believe his emotionally comforting bullcrap, and he's willing to make a complete fool of himself online for the sake of faith and fifis. This is just one more instance of, I don't get it, therefore God, that he's absurdly infamous for. You have to actually get beyond your own ignorance. You gotta learn stuff. Do you think that Daniel ever will? Let me know in the comments.
The complexity of so minute a system as bacterial flagellum is truly marvelous. Because of this flagellum, some bacteria cells can achieve amazing speeds in proportion to their size. Some can go as fast as 60 cell lengths per second. In comparison, the fastest land animal, a cheetah, can only go about 25 body lengths per second.
Of course, he doesn't want to talk about, say, the peregrine falcon, which tops out around 240 miles an hour in a dive. Not that any of it matters, of course, I'm just proving that even in his half-assed examples, Daniel is wrong once again. And I hardly think anyone is surprised by that anymore, are they?
The design of the bacterial flagellum is proof that there is a designer.
Nope, it's not, because there is no design apparent. What you interpret isn't what's going on. Again, this is the problem with starting with faith and insisting that it has to be true because that's what makes you happy. Now, we don't know exactly how far back flagellum go. Although I'm putting one of the oldest forms up on screen, and I am not going to try to say that because at least I know my own limitations. Again, I figure that Daniel isn't even aware that there's more than one kind of bacteria out there, or more than one kind of flagellum, because Daniel doesn't give a crap. He just wants to believe. It's why he's so dumb, because a simple Google search would just set him straight. If only he'd done one. This guy's a moron, isn't he?
In the same way that a mousetrap could not evolve, you couldn't just take a board and then later add a trigger, later add a bait, later add the thing that snaps the neck of the mouse. You couldn't do that.
God damn, he's stupid. I mean, seriously, could he do any more damage to his own credibility than just opening his mouth? Duh, I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, what the hell is wrong with this idiot? In fact, as I write this, I asked that exact same question over on an Atheist Experience video. Why is it that all of the theists who call in are the really dumb ones? Why is it always the ones that are drooling and have single-digit IQs? I mean, the guy in the video was saying, oxygen is magic. We don't run out of oxygen, so it's a miracle. I mean, I guess he's never heard of plants and photosynthesis. This is the same level that Daniel King is on. I mean, it's a good thing this video is close to the end because I think I need to go lay down.
It all has to work together at the same time to be functional.
Dude, your brain isn't functional. What a maroon.
In the same way, the bacterial flagellum needs to all work together in order to be functional. This proves to me that there is a designer.
It proves to me that you're an idiot. Okay, I know that Daniel here is absurdly low-hanging fruit. We're only going through his videos at this point just to make fun of him. He is not worth anything else. Yet, he still makes plenty of money. I mean, not on YouTube, granted, where he's mostly ignored, but he still apparently gathers crowds to his live shows, or whatever the hell they are. That just proves how many dumb people there are out there. Can we say that we are at all surprised? No, I can't. Unfortunately, this is what most apologists look like. They might be more coherent and have a better screen presence than Daniel King. I mean, it's kind of hard to get worse than that, but it is hard for me to imagine how this wouldn't embarrass someone like him if he actually cared. I know I'd never show my face online again if I was ever looking like this, but I would never do anything this dumb to begin with. Was this worse than the stupid eye video? I don't know. You can tell me down in the comments. We'll hit up his next video sooner or later, where he proves that he has absolutely no clue what evolution is. As if that's any surprise. Until then, don't be like this idiot. You have to be better. I can't see how anybody could possibly be worse.